Ooh, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
So after the video where I tricked everybody into joining the single coolest art movement since a German guy wrote his name on a toilet, the president has decided to go after home-built firearms, which is exactly what AWCY does. It's kind of like saying you're not going after trans women, you're just banning Fallout New Vegas. You don't have to mention trans women to affect literally every single trans woman ever. Also, since I've posted that, I've had a lot of people ask questions, some based in misinformation, some based in merely wanting to know more, and I wanted to clear up the misinformation and talk about some of the questions that I have been asked, so here we go. Nope, not even close. Up until 3 months ago, I wasn't even a member of the dev team, I was just a member of the community. And up until this weekend, I actually wasn't even a full member. I only this weekend came off my 3-month probationary period that everybody gets at the beginning of their process. But that's the beautiful part of decentralization. You don't have to be a full member of the community to become a member. All you need to become a part of AWCY is an interest in making 3D printed guns, and if you have that, congrats, you're a member. You want to make your own 3D printed guns? Congrats, that's all we needed to know. We didn't even need to know. If you don't want to talk to anybody and you just want to help share the files, congrats, you're in. I'm not going to answer that. Next question? No? I have to give more? I'm not going to go into the specifics of joining the dev team, because AWCY is a group that releases their files so anybody who wants to try can become a regular member. Becoming a part of the dev team means you get access to a lot of the alpha builds and the unproven files that we don't want just out floating in the public. So before you get access to those, you have to prove yourself and your abilities. Literally anybody could be a member. Your mom could be a member. Yeah. But realistically, becoming a member of the dev team is a bit more involved. Part of that process is learning what the process even is, and I don't want to rob that from anybody. So if you're on a 101 or 102 video trying to figure out how to join the dev team, my advice to you would be learn your skills, get printing, get practiced, and then come apply. I guarantee you it'll be a lot easier if you've already made a few. Bitch, do I look alt-right to you? AWCY might be full of people with big personalities and even bigger opinions, but the group itself is non-partisan, non-political, and is just a collective of artists, engineers, and builders. There is no central ideology or central partisanship beyond defensive rights are for everyone. Conversations that are even vaguely political get shut down pretty quickly by just talking about gun building stuff. I will say, despite the Wild West-ish architecture, it is surprisingly good as a community at shutting hate out of its numbers. We want to get back to building guns. If you're being a dick, we'll ask you to stop being a dick so we can get back to building guns. And if you keep being a dick, we'll ask you to leave. Because nobody likes a dick. Well... Nope. Next question. What? I still need to do more? We've already done this bit already? Fine. AWCY is actually pretty good at following the law. In fact, I'd say they're better at following the law than most police officers. Some people in the community are full FFLs. There's even a handful of people who are sheriffs or former sheriffs. Now, to be clear, legal does depend on where you happen to be. I'm discussing American law because I am an American, but AWCY is an international group. But as a patriot and American, I only have to speak to American laws, and from what I've seen, everybody that applies to follows them religiously. They are absolutely law-abiding citizens that want to, own their own means of defensive production. Because nobody in AWCY is looking to have a church full of their wives, kids, and friends burned alive, which we know is how the ATF rolls. Which reminds me, David Chipman, Biden's pick for the ATF, is this you? Did you think that was a good pick, bud? David Chipman is one of the few people on the planet who can answer the question, what does it smell like when you light a church full of women and children on fire? And that alone should give people pause. So is fucking the neighbor, and that didn't stop your mom. Okay, seriously, let's talk about why people even think ghost guns are a thing. Guns without serial numbers have existed ever since we built guns. A lot of the earliest development in handguns only happened because somebody was at home building a gun, and you don't stamp a serial number into something that you're prototyping. A lot of smaller manufacturers never serialized their production because they weren't big enough to really get into that. Often, especially if you're doing custom work, you won't serialize small runs. There are a couple thousand prototype 1911s that were built during the development of the 1911 build process, and one of the things that universally combines them is either they don't have a serial number or huge batches of them have the same serial number. The vast majority of guns used in crimes are stolen factory guns. 99 times out of 100, if one of those guns doesn't have a serial number, it's because it was filed off by a criminal, not because it was a ghost build. It's not impossible, but it's an art and a skill, and it takes time to develop. It's not the kind of thing that you would want to carry reliably for an emergency situation if you haven't tested it, if you haven't spent the time to develop the skills required to build them. Crime, the vast majority of crime is a crime of desperation. It's people stealing because they don't have another way of feeding themselves, or medicating a family member, or generally doing something that is a survival part of life. The idea that criminals would build their own gun rather than steal one is focused on making you scared of something rather than focusing on problems. To quote the Blue MAGA boy, "This ain't it, Chief." Go follow AWCY at Arms on Twitter. They are absolutely the best source of what's going to be coming in the future, and they frequently post a lot of stuff from the AWCY channel generally, including but not limited to the 37mm launcher that will be coming in the near future. I fully intend to do a video on one of these builds very soon because I want to have this be the 4th of July build for the video if I can get it lined up. These 37mm launchers, it's legal for civilians to own 37mm. It's the closest to 40mm that we're legally allowed to have, and they make some legitimately useful rounds. Some from a tactical perspective, including smoke, some from a fun perspective, including fireworks. Also the DB9, a project spearheaded by Danish Bulldog, which takes a VMAC 9 upper and turns it into something magic, along with an AR lower parts kit. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're annoyed that I'm not going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to join the dev team, hit the like button. And if you're trying to stop me from bullying other people able to instantly join the dev team on a 101 video,
why you bully me?
Why don't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, but hit it so hard that like nobody else can. If you want to see this content early, or you want to see some of the live streams that I do, you can support me on Patreon. The link will be in the bottom. This is the Queer Armor signing off. And remember, moral doesn't mean legal, and Stonewall was a riot.
Pictures worth a